5 August marks 1 year of Modi's prescribed revocation of Article 370 and unilaterally altering the special status of Kashmir. Center of Pakistan and International Relations organized an international webinar with the collaboration of international think tanks and eminent academics to herald the Kashmiris' right to self-determination and to call the global attention towards India's non-compliance of United Nations resolution. The underlying objective of the online session was to raise voice against the transgressions of basic human rights by fascist Indian regime in Nayik. The conference was attended by Dr. Texin Nisar and Babri Gallo from Rome, Dr. Ramzi Baroud from GCC, Dr. Angelo Santiago from Turkey, Dr. Al-Hadi Permanent Mission of Iraq to UN and Amna Malik President Gopair from Pakistan. Amna Malik, the President Gopair commenced the session by sharing that Gopair embarked on a global movement to highlight the grave violations of human rights in Nayik by publishing a number of special reports and hosting webinars where foreign dignitaries, diplomats and scholars reiterated the plight of Kashmiri people.
Today we are very sad, and Center of Pakistan and International Relations, I would like to introduce about our center. It's a strategic think tank which is working on various global issues, and especially peace and security is something which is very close to our heart. We are working with Dr. Tassin for a very long period of time, and I think this is the right time to talk about Kashmir. Today is 5th August. 5th August marks 1 whole year of Modi's fascist revocation of Article 370, which we all know. Kashmir's special status, which may transform into attempts for charging demography of this internationally disputed territory. Prime Minister of Pakistan unveiled a new map, which includes Jammu and Kashmir as part of Pakistan. UN Security Council adopted several resolutions in 1948, 1950s onwards, mentioning a plebiscite should be held to determine the region's future. But unfortunately, Kashmiri humans are deprived of the human rights. Gopair conducted and initiated global movement to highlight human rights violations in Kashmir. The government of Pakistan today observes Yom-e-Istihsal against India on 5th August. This is something which is about humanity, and I think we need to raise our voice for this noble cause.
Dr. Al-Hadi is a minister plenipotentiary in the permanent mission of the Republic of Iraq to the UN, and he shed light on the role of international organizations in tackling the challenges like Kashmir.
I will start by highlighting the international organization, the role of international community, highlighting the light on international organization reporting atrocities in Kashmir. First, the 43-page report by the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for the Human Rights, which released on July 8, 2019, raised serious concerns about abuses by state security forces and armed groups in Kashmir. And the Indian government dismissed the report as a false and motivated narrative that ignored the core issue of cross-border terrorism. That's the argument of the Indian government, of course. The Pakistani government welcomed the report, and it's a sign of cooperation. And later, the OHCHR found that Indian security forces often use excessive force to respond to protests that began in July 2016.
Dr. Texin Nisar, the advisor Gopair and South Asian Democratic Forum, criticized the BJP Hindutva ideology and its far-fetched implications on the region. She added that the Indian civil society should also partake in advocating for the basic civil rights for Kashmiri citizens.
Heartiest thanks to you and your center who have given me this opportunity to contribute my research as far as our topic is concerned, that is a violation of human rights in Kashmir, glancing through the humanitarian prism In order to start off with this particular topic, which is extremely important now today that we mark the first anniversary of revocation of Article 370 and 35A back in 2019. It's been a year, and Kashmir remains in a lockdown. So my preliminary research that I conducted as part of my PhD thesis was on colonial and post-colonial narratives to understand post-colonial societies such as that of Pakistan and India. And to my utmost knowledge that I can apply to this particular topic is that in order to understand a little bit of historical background into the issue of Kashmir and rights violation here, we have to really look into the colonial dimension, because if we just bypass the colonial dimension, I'm afraid we will be really risking a lot. So the way to look forward towards understanding the root cause of this, discrepancy, which is done by India within, constitutional revocation, is to look at post-colonial India as a colonizing power. So what is it doing with regard to Kashmir has to do very much of the post-colonial legacy that India is actually, exercising.
Barbara Gallo, a social activist and representative of a think tank from Italy, shared her thoughts about Kashmir as a matchless case of human rights violation in the world and requested the international media to echo the voice of unarmed and innocent Kashmiris against the brutal Indian aggression.
I'm really thankful to have the chance to be here with you today and having the honor of sharing this interesting discussion among Pakistani people. I would thank to Amna Malek and Tezin Nizar that gave me such an important opportunity. Today, my speech addressed my speech on some points about Kashmir situation and the human rights violation in that region. It has been 1 year since Kashmir remained in total lockdown. Narendra Modi, the flag carrier of the right-wing BJP, has called an outright damage to the Indian secular tradition. Amit Shah, the Indian Interior Minister, announced the approval of the presidential decree revoking the autonomies to the areas of Jammu and Kashmir, granted by Articles 370 and 35A of the Indian Constitution, thereby cancelling the autonomy of Kashmir and changing definitely the basic rights of the Kashmiri people.
Finally, Professor Dr. Angelo Santagostino, hailing from Turkey, shared his well-versed research and analyzed the case with a European vantage point. He added that the European integration and lessons of France-Germany détente provide a practical framework and real-time example, which could be imitated in case of Pakistan and India.
First of all, I want to thank Amna Malik for inviting me and thank my dear friend and colleague Tezin Nizar for inviting me to talk about the Kashmir issue. First of all, has already been said, the present situation, which is not, after 1 year, there is not an improvement. This nightmare is continuing and is even aggravating in respect to what we have seen in the previous year. This is something which has already been underlined by the previous intervention. So let's come to India. So already Modi's BJP enjoy a consensus which is gained through democratic election. This is true, but it's not. Even if true, this is worrying. Democracy has produced something of which we must be somehow scared. In multinationalism, I find two characters which are particularly relevant to explain 5 August: centralization of power and cultural intolerance, which is common, characteristic of nationalistic ideas, nationalistic thoughts. So regional autonomy is seen something as detrimental to the imposition of a single thought, which is the aim of nationalistic views.
Amna Malik, the President Gopar thanked all the participants and endorsed the recommendations provided by panelists which are aligned with the international norms and policy of Pakistan. She stressed that there is a dire need to raise collective voices and to raise the prolonged crisis at national and international level. According to her, highlighting the deprivation of basic civil rights and liberties of innocent Kashmiri people will spiral into a global narrative and will ultimately lead to an arrangement granting the basic human rights to our Kashmiri brethren.